So the only reason that we ended up doing this challenge at all and selecting it from the list was because Georgia May was so excited to do these jelly soaps. And today is her day at doing the jelly soaps. And so I'm going to keep this part, reasonably short because we want to see Georgia May's awesome jelly soaps. So I'm going to send you to an intro, but not before I tell you, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things, and you are here for day 319 of 365 days of soap, and it is the Soaprentice's turn at the Amy Warden Soap Challenge jelly soaps thing. So the cool thing about jelly soaps is, like we talked about it yesterday, right? You have your jelly soap and then you inject cold process soap into the inside. Very cool. When I showed Georgia May like the list or whatever, she was really excited and wanted to do this because she used to like binge watch YouTube videos of people doing this with actual gelatin, like dessert art, like jello art. And so she was pumped and she was very, very excited to do all of this. So let's go check out her pour and her all of the things. I guess it's not even a pour. Let's go check out her syringe skills, now. Now, this is Georgia May's turn at the jelly soap challenge thing, and she decided to make a full 1 pound batch of soap, and her thinking on this was, what happens with the cold process soap if you use the cold process soap as the base, right? Like I poured the melt and pour on the top to stabilize it and do whatever, and she thought, well, how about I use the cold process to that. Now, she's going to hand mix everything to an emulsion and do the thing. We didn't actually talk about the scent blend that was used in this. We used a little teeny tiny bit of the black cypress and cassie that we did for, the fluid wine soap a couple days ago. And the reason for that was, the reason we used it in the first place for that was because we wanted to test we wanted to test Lone Star's scents in an actual batch of soap. And this isn't actually a batch of soap, right? It's jelly soap that has suspended other soap in it. So there's a little bit of the black cypress like in the actual jelly itself, but for the cold process portion, we didn't put anything in. So we're not really, I guess, reviewing anything from Lone Star with this soap challenge, and it is what it is. And also the challenge is what it is. It's one of these fun things wherein, like, I don't know, you can't really mess it up. I mean, obviously mine, they're too cloudy, and so like that's a mess up. Like I wouldn't really submit those unless I really, really had my lighting dialed in for the photography to make sure that I could get a clearer image of what was going on inside the soaps. But I don't have that. So like to actually submit that, I mean, I probably would, I guess. Why do people even submit things for the soap challenge? Because like, I wouldn't submit them to win something. The prize is not important to me at all. And the bragging rights are also not important to me at all because it's such a weird subjective thing as far as, because I'm pretty sure the voting is like by the people who are also in the challenge, right? And so the bragging rights, that's really not a thing either. It's more for the experience, but also you still have your soaper's pride. And so I wouldn't submit like a batch that's just awful and destroyed and whatever for anything unless it was to laugh at myself, like with the teardrops or whatever. I showed you my first like 4 batches, my first 4 attempts of teardrops from several years ago during Georgia May's teardrop video to show, you know, yeah, this is kind of a common thing with teardrops. This is what you kind of expect. Now, this particular, her jelly soap, you notice how blue it is. She tried the bluing, but I think she put too much blue. So there's that. And her soap itself seems to have less bubbles in it, so that's good. Mine had a lot of bubbles. I get big mad and annoyed at jelly soap. Like, how do you... I really do. Like, I appreciate the tips from other people with this, because like it's very, I don't know. This is not something that I I know a lot about, the whole jelly soap, whatever. It's not my forte. Is it anybody's forte? Like, are there soapers out there who have their whole ass line nothing but jelly soaps? Because I'd be fascinated with that. Like, I would be, I have learned though, when playing with jelly soaps, if you really want them to firm up really well, add like 10%, 10 to 20% actual proper melt and pour to whatever size batch you're using for jelly soaps. And it actually helps that keep its shape wildly better than just this jelly itself. Now, this jelly soap is a Stevenson base, and Stevenson historically has really extraordinary bases. And, but I don't know, maybe there's something out there that's not, you know, it's better than the, what is she doing? Oh, she's cleaning out her tips. Okay, so she's cleaning out your tips. That's a good idea. Pull some water through it, push it back down so you can actually get everything out for sure. But like Stevenson historically has really good bases, and so maybe there is a better jelly soap base out there, and I'd be interested to know what that was. My literal only experience is with the Stevenson base though. That's the only one I know. There are a lot of cases where kind of all soap bases are created reasonably equal. Like when you're dealing with like regular melt and pour and those sorts of things. If you're buying from a proper soap company, like soap supply company, the base that you're going to get is probably going to be pretty good. Now, over at like the craft stores, like Michael's or Joann's or whatever, I don't know, those bases might suck. I don't know. I know that they're overpriced whenever I'm actually in Michael's and I walk past like the soaping thing, which is so funny because over the years, like, you know, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, nobody had a soap making thing in the craft store. That was not a section in the craft store. And then all of a sudden, like 4-ish years ago, they started cropping up. Cool. And then now, like, like the little sections are getting bigger and bigger. It's very interesting. It really is. And it's cool that so many people are picking up this hobby. And I do think that the people who are buying things from Michael's are actually the hobbyists. Like, they just want to do it for the love of making things, which is awesome. But yeah, I look at the prices and I'm like, damn, you're going to drop like 20 bucks on 5 pounds of melt and pour? I don't even think it's 5. I think it's like a 2 pound. Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of doll hairs, my friend. But, you know, there's a market for everything, I suppose. The market determines the prices, and if people will pay them, then Michael's will continue to sell them at that. But yeah, Georgia is doing really interesting stuff with her technique and where she's putting everything in. She told me after she did hers that the soap didn't want to stab. It really just wanted to squish. And that was not my experience with it at all. So I don't know why. Or maybe it's just Georgia has watched so many like gelatin videos that she expected it to be something else when she first, you know, did the first little stabby stab. I mean, that could be too. Because again, I have no... I don't know anything about any of this. I've never seen one of those gelatin videos. I've never done any of this. And so I guess, you know, if I had... It sort of makes sense, right? Think about... So for the people who spend a lot of time watching soap videos, right? And then you went to go make your first batch. And in the soap video, the batter is so beautiful and fluid, and they're making it look like it's the easiest thing in the world, and then you go to pour your first batch, and the first thing that you do wrong is overmix your batter, because you are terrified that you're not going to hit emulsion and you're going to burn everyone's skin off with a lye heavy bar of soap, because these are common like fears when you first start out, right? And also that's the most common thing that I've seen from beginning soap makers. Like the first time they take a stick blender to soap, they always overmix it, and it's always very, very thick. And I know that because I have had thousands of first timers in my classes over the years, and that's what they do. So actually I started not allowing them to even have stick blenders, and so their very first batch of soap, which is just a little 1 pound batch, but their very first batch of soap is a hand mix. And I start talking to them about the different emulsion states and how you can find a different trace and how you can find emulsion and all the things, as they actually have time to see it. Because with a stick blender, you can super get overzealous, and there always is the concern of, oh my gosh, I don't want it to get, there's that concern. Like, I don't want to have a lye heavy soap that will burn someone's skin off, which is just, it's silly in and of itself that that's like a, it's very, very hard to mess up soap. So, but also that's cool. I do understand why that concern would be there, like for sure. But yeah, no, that whole overmixing and doing the whatever is, it's definitely a thing. And I'm just, look at all the cool little like line. Oh, she got all shaky. She's all, I'm sorry, I had to, she's so excited, holy crap. I had to just stop randomly talking about nothing whatsoever and just, I'm fascinated with how beautiful her actual lines are. Mine were so haphazard and all over the board. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll put some yellow here, and oh, how about some green here? There was no rhyme or reason, but she actually like looked like she had a plan, and she's so excited. Her little hand mannerisms, her expressions with her hands are so good. She's amazing. And now, trying to figure out the next step. What do I want to do next? Her batter has stayed beautifully fluid because she kept everything in an emulsion and went no further than that, which was good and smart and awesome. But you see there's a lot of extra soap left. Again, this is a full 1 pound batch. She's got like 3 whole ass bars of soap left over with all of this. And really the bottom here, if that cold process over the top works, she's really only going to need 1.5 ounces to 2 ounces total to cover the bottom, to coat the bottom of the jelly soaps here. So there's a lot of waste. So again, if you're going to do this, make a little teeny tiny batch. Little teeny tiny batch for sure. Or, you know, just have one ready to go and all the tools for when you're making soap, and maybe you have a little bit of extra at the end of it. And instead of just pouring it into your, you know, scratch and dent mold that you have, because all of us soapers have that, maybe do some jelly soaps with your extra batter. As long as it's still fluid enough to get through the syringe, it should be good to go, is my thinking. But yeah, she's going to, I think, once she finishes up with her greens, she's gonna pour one of these colors onto the bottom and coat it with cold process and see how that all goes, which is interesting. I'm really super looking forward to seeing how that goes. I like learning new things, and I feel like you need the stability of the melt and pour, but maybe the cold process can provide that as well. So I am fascinated to find out, really. This is going to be very, very cool. And, you know, one of the reasons that we do this channel is because we like to experiment and mess with things. And when we make the soapy mistakes, then you know not to make them, and you have a visual as to why. When we come up with something weird and crazy, like here's a cool hack, hey, now you get that information too. And it's just, it's a day in the soap shop, and these are the things we do. We experiment, we play with a lot of weird things. So there's definitely that. And yeah, I'm actually really excited to see her soaps, because she did different angles, like that she was putting the actual needle in, and she did needle down, so the little tool thingy up, and the needle was down in, I think, all of her punctures. And so that's interesting. Just keep that in mind. There may actually be a reason why she did that, and she may have learned that from, I mean, A, just being an artist and being smart and being awesome, but also, two, from all of the gelatin videos that she did. So we don't know. Oh yeah, she still has extra in there too. That's wild. Yep. It's a lot of soap batter. 1 full pound is definitely way more than you're ever going to need for something like this. But again, I am interested to see if this firms up and saponifies and does its thing on top of the soap. That would be very interesting to find out for sure. And so yeah, this is going to set up overnight because she does have cold process over the top, so that can have a fighting chance at curing and or saponifying really. And we will look at hers and her final soaps tomorrow after this stuff is no longer so liquid on the top there. All right, day 2 and her big reveal. And these guys are really cool. They're definitely more clear. There's better clarity to them than mine, for sure. And it's hard to get it to actually show up in the camera. It's weird, but hers actually look really cool. You can see some cool depth and like transitions and different color shifts and everything and all of that. And this is when we started playing with the lights to see if we could make it show up better. And even with it off, like, I don't know, it's all a thing. It's all weird. I don't know if that's, they look really, really cool though. Those are very, very pretty. And yeah, the soap on the bottom, it never firmed up. So that could be a number of issues. It could be that cold process doesn't want to play nice on top of a jelly soap. Maybe. I don't know. That's gorgeous. That's so beautiful. Look at that. So lovely. It could be that the batch wasn't fully emulsified and it needed a couple more days to cure, but we weren't going to wait because we wanted to see that. We wanted to see what it looked like on the inside, and so we wanted to be able to take them out of the mold. And also the soap and clay kidlets were chomping at the bit to do their own, and so we had to take them out of the mold so they could do theirs. But that is so very, very pretty. Ultimately, what we ended up doing was wiping all of this off, and the bottom here, because that's very weird. We wiped it all off and we covered it with a proper melt and pour and did the things, but they're very pretty. Let's see what happens when she takes some rubbing alcohol to them, and if she can get some extra clarity in her soaps so we can see a little bit more of the awesomeness, because they are very, very awesome and very super cute and squishy and jiggly and all of the things. But yeah, the back is a whole lot. It's a whole ass mess. Like, that back is not any kind of fun. And I don't know. I think they're so freaking cute though. These things are very fun. Like, this was just a weirdly enjoyable, and that's one of the reasons why you definitely need a good base underneath these. You see how she was moving the towel around underneath, and it flattened this whole thing sort of out. I think you need a good base to help the jelly soap actually hold its form in this. And so that's ultimately kind of what she decided with all of that. And that's why we ended up scraping it all off and then going with a melt and pour base for it too. But they are super cute, absolutely awesome, a little bit wiggly, but again, a good base will fix all of that. And perfect, like fun. And fun. Everyone had fun with this. I had fun. Georgia May had fun. This is just fun. Just try this. It's fun. Do the thing for sure. But yeah, that is a day 319. Georgia May's attempt at the Amy Warden soap challenge thing with the jelly soaps, and they are wiggly and sticky on the bottom, but super beautiful. I love them both. Syringe skills? Is that really something someone can have? That's cool. Yes, there they are, Georgia May's jelly soaps, and super cute. Now, you know, if you were wondering if you can use a cold process to finish it off, I don't recommend it. It needs a really stable base, and cold process, that her soap was not actually solidifying. It was still very soft, very thin layer. I'm wondering if it has something to do with the jello that it's trying to adhere to. Anyway, using a melt and pour, just a regular glycerin soap to do the bottom, much better idea for sure. The bluing of her blue, she did get a little too blue, and so that's unfortunate. And also with the camera angles, we couldn't really show you how beautiful it is inside, and so I don't know, maybe you guys have better ideas and tips and tricks on how to make the jelly soap itself very, very clear and keep the bubbles and everything at bay so you can see everything that's going on inside. But in my experience with jelly soaps, which is very limited because it's a very kitschy product, this is what we do. And I love what she did, and she had fun with that. And the Soap and Clay Kidlets actually liked it so much that they want to do a round themselves. So we are going to be doing that with them tomorrow, which is super exciting. I hope you guys had fun with Georgia May's jelly soaps because they are very, very fun and awesome. And it's such a weird process doing this, but you know, I had fun with it. Georgia May's had fun with it. Hopefully the Soap and Clay Kidlets will have fun with it too. You should do some yourself because yeah, it was a cool little craft thing for sure. That does it for me for today. I appreciate all of you who are subscribed. Thank you so much for being my sudsers. You are awesome. If you would like to be a sudser, click the subscribe button. Do the thing. That'd be awesome. I'm out of here again for today. I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of 365 days of soap. Bye.